All right, everybody. Ready to talk about escaping the rat race and achieving financial independence.
Let's do it. It's a topic more people are interested in than ever, it seems.
It really does feel like it's caught on recently.
Well, yeah, I mean, who wants to be stuck working forever?
Exactly. And you sent over some incredible strategies for us to unpack today.
Oh, yeah, the stuff you sent over. Really practical, actionable advice in those.
Music to my ears.
Yeah.
I'm ready to break it all down with your help. So first things first.
Yeah, gotta figure out your why. Your big why for wanting financial independence.
Right. It's more than just wanting to be financially free. Like, what does that actually mean for you?
Yeah, like, is it early retirement, starting that business you've been dreaming of? Maybe it's just peace of mind, knowing you're financially secure.
Totally. One of the sources even compared it to using a map app, on your phone,
Yeah.
but never actually putting in a destination. You're just driving around.
Oh, that's such a good analogy because it's so true. You need that clear vision. Otherwise, you're just kind of spinning your wheels.
Totally. So we need to ditch the vague, I want to be rich dreams and get laser focused.
Exactly. Set smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Yes, all the good stuff. They even suggest creating a vision board. Have you ever done that?
I haven't, but I know people who swear by it.
I've dabbled. It's a little woo-woo for me sometimes, but I kind of get it.
Well, yeah, the whole idea is that by surrounding yourself with images and affirmations that represent your goals, you're kind of hardwiring your subconscious mind for success, right?
Right. So vision board or not, we've got our metaphorical GPS locked in. Now we need a plan to navigate the road to financial freedom.
And almost every single source we looked at said it all starts with a good budget.
No way around it.
Nope. But it's not your grandma's budgeting.
Right, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's not all about restriction and depredation. It's more like being intentional about your money.
I like that, being intentional with your money.
Right, so that you can actually achieve your goals.
So instead of focusing on what you can't have, you focus on where you want your money to go and what you want to accomplish with it.
Exactly. One of the things they suggested was the 30-30-30-10 rule as a starting point for your spending.
Okay, remind me how that one works.
Sure, 30% to needs, 30% to wants, 30% to savings and investments, and then 10% to paying off any debt you have.
Okay, that makes it feel way less intimidating. It's about finding what works for you. But no matter your budgeting style, the sources were very clear about the importance of an emergency fund.
Non-negotiable. And honestly, one of the best things I ever did was start treating my emergency fund like a bill. So I have that automatic transfer set up every single month.
Out of sight, out of mind. So smart.
Right.
Okay, speaking of things we'd rather not think about, let's tackle debt.
The elephant in the room. But honestly, you are not alone. So many people are dealing with debt, so don't beat yourself up about it.
Easier said than done sometimes. But seriously, you're right. I forget that sometimes.
But the key is to actually face those numbers, figure out what you owe and to who. No more shoving those bills to the bottom of the drawer.
Absolutely. You got to know what you're dealing with. And then from there, you can start to make a plan, right?
Exactly. That's where budgeting comes in. If you know where your money is going, you can find places to free up extra cash to put towards those debts.
Okay, so once you have a handle on your budget and are maybe freeing up some cash flow, what are our options when it comes to actually tackling debt?
Well, the two methods that kept coming up were the snowball and the avalanche methods.
Can you break those down for us?
Sure. The snowball method, you focus on paying off your smallest debts first, regardless of the interest rate.
Okay, so you get that quick win to stay motivated.
Exactly. It might not be the most mathematically efficient, but it can be really good for building that momentum.
Got it. What about avalanche?
With the avalanche method, you're tackling the debt with the highest interest rate first.
So you're minimizing the total amount you pay in interest.
Exactly. It might take longer to see those initial wins, but it can save you money in the long run.
So it really boils down to figuring out which strategy best aligns with your personality and your financial goals.
Totally. And if you have a bunch of different debts, don't forget about debt consolidation.
Ah, yes. That can be a game changer for some people, right?
It can. Lower interest rate and one payment. Sign me up. But always read the fine print, of course.
Always good advice.
Yeah.
Now, let's move from saving to something a little more exciting, boosting our earning potential. One thing that really resonated with me was the idea of investing in yourself.
It's not just about blindly spending money on courses, though.
Right.
It's more about being strategic, like what skills or knowledge gaps are holding you back from your income goals.
I love that. So we're talking education, training, workshops, Really anything that can help you level up your skills and potentially increase your earning power.
Totally. And don't underestimate things like networking events and conferences, too.
Oh, so true. Sometimes it really is about who you know.
It can be.
Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes, even with the best education and network, landing that dream job or a big promotion takes time. So how do we bridge that gap?
Side hustles.
Okay, yes, that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. It's almost like dipping your toe into the entrepreneurial waters, you know?
Totally. Without necessarily diving in headfirst and quitting your job.
Exactly. You could freelance, do some consulting, teach online courses, maybe you sell stuff you make on Etsy.
There's so many possibilities.
Seriously, the possibilities really are pretty much endless.
One of the sources even talked about using a side hustle to actually explore a new career path, which I thought was brilliant.
Oh, that's so smart. So you're basically testing the waters before you make any big decisions.
Exactly. Low risk and potentially high reward.
Love it. Okay, and while we're on the topic of earning more, can we please address the elephant in the room? Negotiation.
Oh, it's gotta happen.
Right. It can feel so awkward and uncomfortable.
It definitely can. But it's important to remember you deserve to be paid what you're worth.
Please.
Do your research, practice your pitch, and don't be afraid to ask for what you deserve.
And if they say no, you're no worse off than when you started.
Right.
Right. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, let's talk investing, because honestly, this is where I start to geek out a little bit.
Me too. It's so exciting to watch your money grow and work for you.
Right. But I know investing can also feel intimidating to a lot of people, especially if they're just getting started.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Well, one of the key takeaways I got from the sources was the importance of starting early, even if it's just with a small amount of money.
Because of compound interest.
Yes. It's magical, I swear. It's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
I love that analogy. So even if you feel behind, just start now.
Exactly. It's never too late to start investing in your future. And when it comes to where to actually put your money, a lot of the sources recommended starting with retirement accounts.
Like 401ks and IRAs.
Those are the ones, especially if your employer offers any kind of matching program.
Free money.
Exactly. Don't leave that on the table. Plus, they're tax advantaged, which is a nice bonus.
It is nice to keep the tax man away as long as possible. But once you've got those retirement accounts set up, how do you actually choose what to invest in? Stocks? Bonds? Mutual funds? I mean, it can feel overwhelming with so many options.
Totally. And that's where diversification comes in.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. The sources suggest spreading your investments across different asset classes to help manage risk.
So what are some good options for beginners? Because I'm guessing you shouldn't just pick random stocks based on what you see on the news.
Probably not, though it can be tempting sometimes. But I think we need to save our get-rich-quick schemes discussion for another episode.
Deal. So if not random stocks, then what?
Index funds and ETFs were mentioned a lot.
Can you remind us what those are again?
Sure. So an index fund basically tracks a specific market index like the S&P 500. So you're investing in a basket of stocks. And an ETF is kind of similar, but it's traded on an exchange like a stock.
Okay, so they're both good options for getting started because they offer broad market exposure without needing to pick individual stocks.
Exactly. They take a lot of the guesswork out of investing.
I love that. Okay, so we've got our retirement accounts humming along, but what about exploring other avenues for financial freedom, like passive income? Now, this is a topic I know people love to talk about.
Who doesn't love the idea of money working for you, even while you sleep?
Right. Okay, so real estate was a big one that came up a lot in the research.
Yeah, like rental properties or investing in REITs.
REITs. Can you refresh our memory on what those are again?
Yeah, so REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. Think of it like a mutual fund, but for real estate.
Yes.
So you're investing in a bunch of different properties, but you don't have to deal with the hassle of being a landlord yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's a way to diversify within the real estate market.
Exactly. Now, another passive income idea that came up was dividend stocks.
Oh, yes. Dividends, like getting paid to own a piece of a company.
Pretty much.
Okay, so we've got real estate, dividend stocks. Are there any other ways to generate passive income that the sources mentioned?
Absolutely. The digital age has opened up a ton of new possibilities, and one that came up repeatedly was creating and selling digital products.
Ooh, okay, like what kind of digital products?
Things like ebooks, online courses, printable designs, stock photos and videos, even things like music and sound effects.
It's like turning your knowledge, skills, or creativity into these digital assets that can earn you money over and over again.
Precisely.
Okay, that is super cool. Now let's switch gears just a bit and talk about the often overlooked mental aspect of financial independence. Because it's not always about tactics and strategies.
It's true, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, it can disappear pretty quickly.
So true. One thing that really resonated with me was this idea of lifestyle inflation.
Oh yeah, it's a silent wealth killer, for sure. But the good news is it's something you can control once you're aware of it.
Okay, so how do we break free from that whole keeping up with the Joneses mentality and embrace a more mindful approach to spending?
Well, it starts with shifting your mindset from I want it all to I want what truly matters.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get caught up in that, right? Like, oh, I need the newest phone or we need a bigger house. It's a never-ending cycle.
It is. But when you can step back and say, wait, does this new thing actually align with my values and my goals? It really changes your perspective.
Totally. Because at the end of the day, financial independence isn't about depriving yourself. It's about having the freedom to spend your money on the things that truly matter to you.
Exactly. Whether that's travel, experiences, giving back to your community, whatever brings you joy.
Yes. All right. As we start to wrap things up here, I wanted to touch on a couple more things. The sources also talked a lot about the importance of having a good support system.
Oh, for sure. It's like having a personal board of directors for your money.
I love that.
Right. Don't be afraid to seek out advice from financial advisors, mentors, or even just like-minded friends or family members.
Totally. Because even though we've covered a lot today, there's always more to learn.
Yeah,
And the financial world can be confusing sometimes.
for sure. And as you start making more money and your financial situation gets more complex, one thing to keep in mind is taxes.
Taxes. Nobody wants to talk about taxes.
I know, I know. But understanding how taxes work and how they impact your investments and income can save you a lot of headaches down the road.
So true. And sometimes it might even be worth hiring a professional to help you navigate it all, right?
Absolutely. Especially when you start getting into things like real estate investing, or if you've got a successful side hustle going, it can get tricky.
Totally. Okay, so to wrap things up here, we've covered a ton of ground today. We talked about everything from setting financial goals and budgeting, all the way to investing and even generating passive income streams. But if you had to leave our listeners with one final thought, one thing to really ponder on their financial independence journey, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think it would be this. Financial independence isn't just about hitting some magic number in your bank account. It's about designing a life you love, a life you don't need to escape from.
So well said. And that's such an important distinction to make because ultimately it's about aligning your money with your values and creating a life that's fulfilling and meaningful on your own terms.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, a huge thank you to you for joining me today and for sharing all of your wisdom. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to The Deep Dive. We hope you found this episode insightful and feel empowered to take control of your financial future.
And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So start today.
We'll catch you on the next episode.